Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today here in Carolina. We are happy to have a seminar that is related to the energy resources and strategies of the South Caucasus and Turkey, and the possibilities for cooperation with the Argentine Republic. This seminar was jointly organized by the Eurasian Studies and the Energy Affairs Committee. Both directors are here joining this panel. We are happy to have the ambassador of Azerbaijan and the ambassador of Georgia in this very first panel, as well as a member of a private company showing a multi-stakeholder approach on this issue. First, we will hear the ambassador of Azerbaijan, Mr. Ramzi Timurov. Okay, I will first introduce you our president of the CARI Foundation, Francisco Alessandro.
Thank you. Just a couple of words to thank the Committee of Asian Affairs, the Committee of Energy and CARI, something that we look forward always. This work together to look for synergy. That's the only way to spend international affairs today. They're so complex. One way to do that, take a theme as an energy, set an important theme, thinking about the future of Argentina and the potential we have, and an important geographical area. Thank you very much, especially to the Secretary General Guillermo Vázquez that had this idea, this project. And of course, welcoming our good friends, the ambassadors of Azerbaijan and Georgia, who we have later the ambassador of Turkey also, all good friends of CARI, and we value their presence here and the relation we have throughout the year. Also, Martin Buderoni, American Energy, also a friend of CARI. So thank you everyone, and we look forward to a fruitful and interesting conversation.
Thank you, Francisco. I will read now a very brief CV from the ambassador of Azerbaijan. It is long, but I will do my effort to see only a couple of lines. Mr. Timurov holds a bachelor's degree in English language and a master's degree in literature and language from the State University of Foreign Languages. He also earned a doctorate in international politics from Hancock University of International Studies in Korea. His professional background includes military service from 2001 to 2002, after which he joined the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He has served at Azerbaijan's embassy in the United States and Austria as Deputy Permanent Representative to the international organizations in Vienna and as Ambassador to the Republic of Korea. He has been the Ambassador of Azerbaijan to Argentina since August 2022. Ambassador, with Recursos.
Thank you very much. First of all, thank you, Francisco, for definitely for inviting us again to CARI. It's lovely to be in this great environment of issues. This topic of today is indeed, I think, very important, not only in terms of the Eurasian continent, having knowledge about the Eurasian continent, but at the same time, I think maybe that's better. So maybe, and also in terms of Argentinian perspectives and what maybe we can have an exchange of experience in terms of energy and energy policies. So I have a little PPT about what I will talk about. First of all, I want to mention, segundo, por favor. I want to mention about the energy resources of Azerbaijan in general. Before mentioning that, I must briefly inform you about the historical background of the South Caucasus. It is not just in our
Francisco, si no se apaga, alguno no se oye.
My voice is good. So it's South Caucasus is not only well known as an important oil and gas resource region just in our century, but it was going far beyond of our century, even goes back to the 19th century. Everybody, this is well known in the international community that as if United States and Pennsylvania was the first place where oil drilling happened, but this is not true. Actually, the first industrial oil drilling happened in Baku, Azerbaijan, in 1846, far before drilling Pennsylvania. So, but in one interesting fact that I wanted to bring to your attention, in the beginning of the 20th century, in 1901, 1910, Azerbaijan was producing almost 60% of the oil in general resources, 60%. And during the Second World War, this is also historical and very interesting fact, is that in the beginning of the World War II, Britain and allies wanted to target it to the Baku oil fields because Soviets that time who were allied with the German Nazis were providing German tanks with Azerbaijani oil. And then the policy was changed and Baku became important for the allies. And then the Hitler Nazi Germany wanted to target the Baku oil because again, it was providing the most of the oil of the Russian or Soviet tanks and airplanes. So therefore, there is a historical background, and one more important, maybe for you, it would be important reference. I want to touch that Noble Brothers. They started there one of the largest business in Baku, which is not very well known. Actually, where in Baku they start to make their wealth growing with the expenses of Azerbaijani oil. But coming back to our century, as of today, Azerbaijan approved oil reserves is approximately 7 billion barrels, and natural gas reserves is about 2.6 trillion cubic meters. Onshore renewable energy sources, because Azerbaijan is also nowadays diversifying its energy sources from oil, fossil oil and gas to renewable energy. Onshore renewable energy capacity is 135 gigawatt, and offshore renewable is about 57 gigawatt energy. The economic potential of energy resources is estimated at 27 gigawatt, including 3,000 megawatts of wind energy and 23,000 megawatts of solar energy. I will later on talk about these issues in general. Next, please. This is the important map that I wanted to share with you. Actually, basically, this map is showing current oil and gas pipelines, not only in the South Caucasus, but it's also in general showing the map of the gas pipelines that is starting from Russia and the oil and gas pipelines that going to the European and Turkey. The first pipeline that I wanted to mention is this Baku-Novorossiysk pipeline. I don't know if you can see it. Yes, it's on the above. You can see it with the Novorossiysk oil pipeline. This pipeline was the first pipeline was constructed after Azerbaijan gained its independence. It is in 1997 was constructed. The total length of the pipeline is 1,347 kilometers. It was purely Azerbaijani and Russian investment. Initially, Azerbaijani oil was pumped through this pipeline until BTC and Baku oil pipeline until BTC Baku Tbilisi-Ceyhan oil pipeline became operational. In 1999, the pipeline from Baku to another Black Sea port, because Azerbaijan, as you know, is a landlocked country, and we don't have access to the open sea. That's why we had a necessity to connect our oil and gas pipelines through our neighboring countries, to Georgia and Turkey, and Russia initially, to connect to the open sea. So Baku oil pipeline also became operational in 1999. Its length is 833 kilometers. These two pipelines were carrying mainly Azerbaijani onshore oil resources to the world market in the periods of beginning of the 2000s, because since that time, still the largest Azerbaijani oil resource, which we call resource, was not operational that time. That's why we were carrying our oil with these two pipelines. But the main achievement of Azerbaijan, Georgia, and Turkey was establishment of the Baku Tbilisi-Ceyhan oil pipeline. It was not easy, as you can say, as you can imagine, in this geopolitical map, to diverse Azerbaijani oil and gas pipelines to the Western markets by passing Russia. Because Russia, as you know, they have their own interests, economic interests of having kind of monopoly on the Caspian oil and gas resources. But this was the first initiative came by that time president of Azerbaijan, late president of Azerbaijan, Heydar Aliyev, in consortium with the mainly Western companies like British Petroleum. We agreed to build this important pipeline, which will carry Azeri resources to Western markets, mainly to Italy and Israel, are the main buyers of this oil, through the pipeline that is first time constructed in the post-Soviet region by Russian and Russian soil. So this Tbilisi-Ceyhan oil pipeline was inaugurated in 2005 with a length of 1,768 kilometers. The total cost of the pipeline was $3.9 billion. And the maximum capacity is carrying 1 million barrels of oil per day. And we also agreed with the neighboring countries in the east, Turkmenistan and Kazakhstan, to transport their oil via BTC pipeline. Initially, it was agreed that there will be a Trans-Caspian pipeline connecting Turkmenistan and Kazakhstan. But because of objections of the Russian Federation and Iran, this pipeline project was failed. But still, we are able to bring Turkmen and Kazakh oil with the ships to Baku, Sandachal terminal, and via this terminal, we are now delivering the Kazakh and Turkmenistan oil to the Western world markets as well. Since BTC became operational in June 2006 until September 2023, it carried about 4.2 billion barrels of crude oil. Now we come with the gas, because Azerbaijan and Caspian Sea is also well known with its gas resources. As I said before, Azerbaijani gas capacity reserves is about 2.6 trillion cubic meter, which is more than enough, almost 100 years of providing gas to not only for Azerbaijan, neighboring countries, but also to the European countries. In 2007, the first project of Baku-Tbilisi-Erzurum gas pipeline, which became operational, as you can see in the map, in the brown color, it starts from Baku, passing through Georgia, and reaching to the Erzurum of Turkish city. And this southern gas pipeline is the first. This was produced for the first phase of the Shah Deniz project, and the length is about 690 kilometers. And the main shareholders of this pipeline are BP of 30%, Lukoil of Russia, Tepao 19%, and Sokar, Azerbaijani oil company, which is 43%. The second project, which is we call it Trans-Anatolian gas pipeline, that is starting from Erzurum and going all the way to the western borders of Turkey. This is also part of the southern gas corridor, which we call it in general southern gas corridor. This pipeline is about the size of the pipeline is about 1,840 kilometers, and in this pipeline, Sokar is the major investor. Azerbaijani company shares about 58% of the project, and BOTAŞ, Turkish company, is 30%, and BP is 12%. With the completion of both projects, Baku-Tbilisi-Erzurum and Turkey, and Trans-Anatolian pipeline, the Republic of Turkey and Georgia, of course, started to receive Azerbaijani gas, natural gases, as well as definitely the transit benefits. And another pipeline that we accomplished is called Trans-Adriatic gas pipeline, which is a continuation of the Trans-Anatolian pipeline. It is bypassing, starting from Bulgaria, it went all the way to Italy, through Greece. This is also very important pipeline that is accomplished with in cooperation with BP, Sokar, Esnam, Fluxys, and Energas companies. The length of the pipeline is about 878 kilometers, and through this pipeline, as I mentioned already, Bulgaria, Greece, and Italy started to receive Azerbaijani gas. We believe that this gas project is very important in terms of diversification of the Western allies' energy resources. As you know, it's more related and more dependent to the Russian gas, and given the current geopolitical circumstances, especially Bulgaria and Greece, we're facing a lot of problems in terms of receiving the Russian gas. And in that case, Azerbaijani gas became strategically very important for providing enough gas resources of those countries. And another issue that I want to touch is that the European Union and the importance of EU energy security in terms of the Trans-Anatolian and Southern gas project. We and the European Union and Azerbaijan signed the MOU recently, in 2023, on extending the capacity of buying Azerbaijani gas to 20 billion cubic meter per year annually, starting from 2027. I think this is it's because right now the capacity of this pipeline is about 10 billion cubic meter, but we are planning to extend it to 20 billion by 2027. Again, might be not enough for the energy resources of the Europeans, but at the end of the day, this is also diversification of the energy routes. And in the future, if the status of Caspian Sea can be verified, with the Trans-Caspian gas pipeline, which is aimed to connect Turkmenistan. Turkmenistan is the largest gas reserved country in the Caspian Sea. It will be much more convenient to receive more than 20 billion cubic meter of gas by European counterparts. This is in general map of the pipelines that are operational in our region. And as you can see this from the map, the importance of Georgia and Azerbaijan in terms of transportation of the Caspian oil and gas resources to the Western market is very valuable and very visible. I think that's the reason why we are having a lot of problems. And for the next, and as I mentioned before, now Azerbaijan is diversifying its green. Yes, see. As you may know, Azerbaijan is in the eve of hosting COP29 in 10 days, which is an important international platform where we will talk about the global climate issues. We are expecting something around 35,000 foreign guests will be arriving to Baku. About 100 head of states and head of governments are coming to Baku in these 10 days. But Azerbaijan, although we are oil and gas resource country, we have a state program to diverse our energy resources. And one of them is the green energy resources that is becoming very important. Next, please. In accordance to Azerbaijan 2030 agenda, national priorities for social economic development constitutes the strategic basis of the policies on the protection of the environment, balance, and renewable energy production in the country. In November 2021, at the COP26 conference, Azerbaijan made a new commitment to reduce gas emissions by 40% in 2050. The Nakhchivan Autonomous Republic and Karabakh and East Zangezur regions have been declared the green energy zones. So there will be net zero regions by 2050. Currently, Azerbaijan's total electric energy generation capacity is 8,320 megawatt, with the capacity of renewable energy, including major hydropowers and the solar and wind powers. Number of activities are underway to evaluate the realized potential for electric generation of renewable energy sources. We have already agreed in cooperation with Masdar, which is the UAE, United Arab Emirates company. Aqua Power is a Saudi company, BP, and some other Chinese and Italian and some other European companies on investments, potential investments into renewable energy sources of Azerbaijan. The first groundbreaking ceremony was held in Kızıl wind power plant just in 2022. Its capacity is 240 megawatts. And the second one became operational was Karabakh solar power plant, which is along with Masdar, United Arab Emirates company. Its capacity is 230 megawatts. And we also, with Masdar, we have an agreement to establish new projects with the capacity of 1,000 megawatts. That is the implementation of the solar power plants in Azerbaijan in three different regions of Azerbaijan. Another biggest achievement is there is an agreement on strategic partnership in the field of green energy development and transmission between the governments of Azerbaijan, Georgia, Romania, and Hungary. Was signed in Bucharest in 2022. And according to this agreement, green energy produced in the Caspian Sea will be exported to Europe through the Caspian Black Sea Europe Green Energy Corridor. This is totally new project. Other than oil and gas, we are also working together with our partner countries, like the Republic of Georgia, on transferring of the green energy.
to the European markets. I think this is also one of the areas that I think can be interesting for Argentina as well, because in Argentina we have more than enough capacity of solar panels, the solar energy, as well as other green energy resources. So maybe in the future we can also consider on this kind of projects on transportation of green energy to the neighboring countries and other Latin American countries. So, and at the end, I wanted to mention that 2024 was declared by the President of Azerbaijan Green World Solidarity Year, since we are hosting the COP29 this year. Well, this is the summarize of my presentation. It took a little bit over very slowly, but if there will be any questions, I'll be very happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador, for your presentation. I will introduce you to the Ambassador of Georgia in Argentina, Mr. Baram Kandamishvili. Correctly. The ambassador earned his bachelor's and master's degrees from Tbilisi State University, focusing on food technology, customs affairs, and economics. In 2017, he completed a master's in international public policy at the Johns Hopkins of Advanced International Studies after receiving a scholarship from the International Education Center of the government of Georgia. He took office as ambassador of Georgia in Argentina on December 2022. Before this, he served as an alternate permanent representative to the UN, deputy director for the Americas, and head of the Latin American Caribbean Division at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Georgia. He has also held positions at the Georgian embassies in Sweden and Mexico. Ambassador, yours.
Thank you very much. And thank you, first of all, to Kari for gathering us for this interesting conversation, particularly to Francisco and Lila, who has been a mastermind of this and many other events as well. So my gratitude to Kari. I think it is always critical and relevant to speak about the energy and the issues related to energy from many points of view. Some of these has already been mentioned by my friend Ramsey, because the energy security can never be discussed or seen in isolation with other critical matters to the national security interests, as well as, well, given the critical times that we are now living in, especially in our region, but more broadly. Of course, the energy is always can be a source for more stability or peace, or vice versa, depending on how each party uses this. I mean, as a leverage. And we in Georgia have seen different attitudes, especially from our northern neighbor, when the energy has been used as a political tool, as a punitive measure to act against the sovereign choice and the sovereignty of our country, especially back in 2006, well before the August War, was 2008, when there has been a comprehensive economic and commercial embargo on Georgia for taking a very proactive steps and stance towards NATO and the European Union. And these foreign policy directions remain critical for my country as of today. And just I wanted also to mention that all of the challenges that the region faces today, and I'm talking about wider Black Sea region, can also be seen as the opportunities for the countries in the region and for Europe, depending on how the parties will approach these challenges. One thing is sure that we, together with Azerbaijan, also share the same objective, which is apart from making our own countries energy independent and energy efficient through diversifying our respective energy matrices. We also, of course, are there to assist Europe and help the European Union to achieve one of its strategic goals, which is the energy security and energy independence, which is more critical nowadays than ever before. I was also mentioning the opportunities that can be seen, including nowadays, in these quite turbulent times, and this can be through the advent of technology for increased energy production or increasing storage capacities or taking steps along the geopolitical shifts that allow for a more prudent and reliable energy supplies, given that the transportation and transit capacities are there. Well, already back in the 90s, as Ram mentioned, the construction of the number of oil and gas pipelines connecting Azerbaijan, Georgia, and Turkey. And these projects were supported heavily by the United States, enabled Georgia and the entire region to occupy an even more prominent place and role on the geopolitical map. And since then, for decades, Georgia has been continuously developing its infrastructure to strengthen its transit function, which goes beyond the energy sector, indeed taking full advantage of our geographic location, strengthening connectivity with the European Union and developing transport connections between Europe and Asia is of strategic importance of Georgia. As a bridge between Europe and Asia and a reliable transit partner, Georgia has been steadily participating in the development of the main regional transit routes on the Eurasian continent, the Black Sea region, and beyond. Thus, over the last decades, or more than 2 decades now, the completion of the milestone projects, which we have also on this energy map. Georgia's energy sector has made significant progress in terms of security of energy supply and establishment of a sustainable energy system. Georgia's electric power system has been transformed into a system with increasing competitiveness. Substantial investments have been made in the development of the domestic network and cross-border infrastructure, which has contributed to the improvement of security of supply and the development of regional trade. Number of generation facilities has increased significantly, and electricity and natural gas transmission infrastructure has been improved. Access to electricity and natural gas has been expanded, and the opportunities for export, import, and transit of electricity, natural gas, or oil have increased. Today, in terms of electricity, for example, to speak a little bit about our current metrics, the main part of the demand in Georgia is made by the local generation facilities. This is mostly hydro energy and also thermal power plants. And the part of the demand unbalanced by the local production is covered by import. It should be mentioned that imported electricity is mainly used to satisfy a demand in Abkhazia, in the region which is currently being occupied by Georgia, by Russia, or the total region of Georgia, which is currently being occupied by Russia. And the high share of hydro generation in the total electricity generation enables the export of energy during periods of water abundance. Obviously, because of the country's landscape in the spring and the summer period, when the water flow levels and water levels are highest, we can generate the electricity surplus, which is exported to neighboring countries, mainly to Turkey, but also some goes to Azerbaijan and Armenia as well. As for the natural gas, imports are mainly carried out from Azerbaijan, obviously, and relatively small volumes for commercial sector users are also imported from Russia. Georgia receives gas from Azerbaijan's Shaheniz field through the South Caucasus pipeline on the basis of the so-called optional and additional gas purchase and sale agreements. The maximum volume of optional gas to be purchased is determined annually by 5% of the volume of gas transported from Azerbaijan to Turkey. On the other hand, the north-south gas pipeline system mainly serves to transit the natural gas from Russia to Armenia through Georgia. Obviously, Armenia is a landlocked country, and in terms of its energy, it depends 100% on Georgia and on the north-south gas pipeline in particular. And Georgia can, if necessary, receive most of the Russian gas through the same pipeline, which mainly happens during peak consumption periods in winter. Consequently, we can say that security of natural gas supply, both from Azerbaijan and Russia, is supported by international transit contracts, given that the parties respect the terms and conditions of these contracts. And of course, by the parties, I mean just one party here, which is the Russian Federation, for obvious reasons, for the history that we have in terms of the energy imports from Russia. And I would also mention here that, of course, these imports mainly they come from Azerbaijan, which is almost 99% in this case. Georgia has a significant transit function and a special role in diversifying the delivery of hydrocarbons from Caspian Sea to the European markets, and you have seen this on the energy maps, and we are upgrading country's transport infrastructure, contributing to creating competitive transit routes and strengthening supply chains. The government has already embarked on a comprehensive multi-billion program to revitalize and develop country's highways, railway systems, seaport network, and airports, because our role as a transit country obviously goes beyond just the passage of gas or oil pipelines. Obviously, the transit role has to be seen in a more complex picture, where the multimodal transport routes play an even more important role today, especially given our role in terms of the connectivity between the Europe and Asia, and this is happening nowadays more than ever through the Trans-Caspian International Transport Route, which is the middle corridor. And nowadays, the middle corridor is one of the most efficient and secure transit routes for cargo transportation. On the one hand, through the Baku-Tbilisi-Kars railway towards Turkey, and on the other hand, through the Black Sea ports towards Europe and/or Asia. In terms of the Baku-Tbilisi-Kars railway project, I just read a chapter from the European Commission's report on the fulfillment of by Georgia of the European Commission's recommendations in terms of the energy chapter. And well, here we have good news that as of October 2023, a joint venture was created between Georgian, Kazakh, and Azerbaijani railways to create a single operator focusing on unifying tariffs and handling all cargo in the Trans-Caspian transport corridor. And so since a couple of months, Baku-Tbilisi-Kars railway is fully operational, which means that it can transport cargo shipments from Asia to Europe and vice versa. And by the way, the middle corridor is the fastest route to connect Chinese and European markets, and not only the fastest, but the most reliable one nowadays. And some statistics would be helpful here. Lately, for instance, the number of cargoes transported by international shipments by the Georgian transport system, including civil aviation, road transport, and railway, has increased from 2.1 million tons in 2020 to 27.2 million tons in 2023, from around 500,000 containers in 2020 to more than 700,000 containers in 2023. Georgia continues to enhance its role as a logistical center and hub for doing business in the region. And now, as you all probably know, Georgia signed an association agreement, including the deep and comprehensive free trade agreement with the European Union back in 2014, 10 years ago. In 2017, the country became a full-fledged contracting party of energy community made up by the EU, represented by the European Commission, and 9 other neighboring countries. The EU Association Agreement and Georgia's energy community membership defined the main framework for further reforms in energy sector. The main objective of the reforms is to ensure Georgia's energy security and at the same time, as a potential member state, to align with EU legislation. Like for the EU, the green transition is in Georgia's energy security interest. The development of local renewable energy sources and improvements in energy efficiency will allow Georgia to become less energy dependent and create a more resilient energy system. As for the plans for the years to come, Georgia aims to be self-sufficient in terms of the energy as soon as possible. A very solid basis has already been created for the rate of installed capacity in our country to reach 8,000 megawatts by 2028 and to exceed 10,000 megawatts by 2030. This will allow Georgia to become a fully self-sufficient country in terms of electricity. It will in turn also reduce the import of natural gas, obviously. Also, to ensure continuous gas supply, the government of Georgia is planning to construct a gas storage capacity. Back in 2016, the feasibility study prepared by the French consulting firm revealed the possibility of the construction of underground gas storage in a depleted oil field near the capital. It is estimated that the storage will be capable of saving up to 400 million cubic meters of gas, amounting to around 15% of the current total annual consumption of the country. In addition, Georgia has second richest hydro resources per capita in the world and has huge potential to become net green electricity provider for the region. Georgia's greenfield potential is around 40 terawatts. For the moment, only 20% of total hydropower is utilized. In this context, we also mentioned that one of the flagship projects which is under development today is the Black Sea submarine cable project, aiming to connect South Caucasus region directly to the Eastern Europe via submarine cable crossing Black Sea with the approximate length of 1,155 kilometers This is an underwater cable, and 40 kilometers of that is onshore. The depth of 2.2 kilometers with 1,000 to 1,500 megawatt capacity. Connecting the power systems of Georgia and Romania is an important project and will support development of renewable energy sector and increase transit opportunities or back-to-back trade options between EU and the South Caucasus, contributing to the energy security of both regions. The feasibility study of the project was done by the Italian consulting company and was finalized just recently in July 2024. In the following years, next year and in 2026, additional studies will be conducted, such as environmental and social impact assessment, as well as geophysical and geotechnical studies on the Black Sea that will be performed. In 2022, an agreement was signed, and this has to do also with this Black Sea submarine cable project. The agreement was signed by the governments of Georgia, Romania, Azerbaijan, and Hungary on strategic partnership in the field of green energy development and transmission. One of the topics of this agreement is the cooperation between these countries regarding the Black Sea submarine cable project. And this year, the World Bank approved a 35 million loan for the first phase of the Enhancing Energy Security through Power Interconnection and Renewable Energy program for Georgia, designed to support the next steps in the preparation of Black Sea submarine cable. By above-mentioned factors and Georgia's considerable power generation potential from hydro, wind, solar, and other renewable sources create favorable opportunities to invest in renewable sector in the country. Other incentives for investors in this sector include, but are not limited to, strong demand growth prospects, liberalized and deregulated market, diversified energy metrics, access to finance in energy sector through the state-owned Georgian Energy Development Fund. And last but not least, I would like to also once again highlight the strategic partnership of all the projects that my Azeri colleague has mentioned, and of the upcoming projects that we are working on together with European Union and European Commission, and express gratitude to our strategic partners, Azerbaijan, Turkey, and the European Union for the exemplary cooperation on these very issues, which in case of Azerbaijan and Turkey now count some decades, and I'm sure that with this interconnected world, with these two interconnected regions, and with the generation potential of the Caspian gas and oil resources, together with the key role that Georgia is playing in the region as a transit country, there will be good prospects for achieving and energy security and independence in Europe, which has important strategic goals in itself, and also this will enable us to work many other projects, including in the green energy sector for the years to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you to both ambassadors for your presentation. Thank you very much. We will finish this first panel with a presentation from Juan Martín Bulgeroni from Pan American Energy. Mr. Bulgeroni is the Vice President of Planning and Strategy for Upstream Operations at Pan American Energy. He serves on the Board of Directors and is a member of the Energy and Sustainability Committee of the Institute of the Americas. He holds a Bachelor of Science in Petroleum Engineering from Colorado School of Mines and an MBA from the Darden Graduate School of Business Administration at the University of Virginia, United States.
Thank you very much, Daniela. Presentation.
ambassadors. It's a pleasure to accompany you in this panel. I'm going to give you a brief overview of what Pan American Energy does here in the region, and then I want to talk to you about Vaca Muerta and what is going on in Argentina. I think it's good also for ambassadors to learn about what's going on here and the level of activity, and maybe we can have a conversation on how we could cooperate, but also give you an overview of what is going on in Argentina right now, and Vaca Muerta is one of the main hot topics. So Pan American Energy Group is an energy company. It's one of the principal private companies that produces and generates employment in the energy sector in Argentina. And we're present in Bolivia, Mexico, Paraguay, Uruguay, and Brazil. Our area of focus is in 4 main areas. Upstream is the oil and gas production and exploration and production side. We have 50% of the Argentine market of oil and gas production, and operate fields in Mexico, participate in a field in Bolivia, and then in Argentina we're present in most of the basins, in the northwest, in Neuquén, where Vaca Muerta is, in Chubut, where we operate one of the main oil field in Argentina. That's a water flooding project. And then in Cuenca Marina, we participate in a project with Total and Harbor Energy. That's an offshore project. That project itself produces about 15% of Argentina's gas demand. And we're fully integrated, so we have a refinery. We participate in the downstream business. There's a refinery here in Campana, in the province of Buenos Aires, just north of the city of Buenos Aires. We have more than 600 service stations, 15% market share, and a growing lubricant business service to the public in downstream through our brand. We participate in the midstream in Argentina, mostly in assets that have to do with developing our resources and taking our resources to market. So we participate in a pipeline between Neuquén and Bahía Blanca. This is one of the main trunk lines that takes oil from Vaca Muerta to the Argentine markets. We own and operate in a consortium port terminals in Santa Cruz and in Chubut that are part of the Argentine logistic of oil from all the oil that's produced in the south. And we also participate in energy generation in our fields and through a power plant in the outskirts of Buenos Aires, Central Coast. In addition, we participate in the energy transition through participation in renewable energy projects. We operate 1 park in Argentina, participate in 2 more in the south, in Chubut, and we recently inaugurated a wind power plant in Brazil, in Novo Horizonte, a 420 megawatt project. To give you an idea, this is in the top 10 sized projects, renewable projects in Brazil, outside of hydroelectric, obviously, and probably markets to about $1 million. We, on average, have been investing $1.5 billion in the last 10 years. Consistently, and we employ about 20,000 employees, direct and indirect through our partners. Next one, please. Going to Vaca Muerta, well, still these two graphs are Argentine oil and gas production. In green, we have oil, in red, we have gas. The darker colors are unconventional production, and the lighter colors are the conventional production. You can see a decline in conventional production, both for oil and gas. And you see how since the 2012 is the first date of the graph to the present, you see how unconventional production, both in oil and in gas, has grown and in fact reverted declining trend that the country was in. So more than 50% of the oil is unconventional oil, 55%, and 66% of the gas produced in Argentina is unconventional gas. Clearly, the unconventional is key to where Argentina is going as far as oil and gas is concerned, and we've been able to revert the trend that we were having. Here we have the chart is a cumulative graph of investment per year in unconventionals. So this graph also begins in 2012. This is more or less when unconventionals began in Argentina, and the cumulative number estimated for 2024 is $50 billion. Okay, so the average for this over this 12-year period is $4 billion. Last year's investment was $8 billion. This year's is $10 billion. For you to have an idea on how this investment is growing, and it's probably hard for you to see, but believe me, please, in the graph, if you look at it, since 2020, the growth of the investment has been substantial. And I'll show you more about this in the next slides, but this has to do with a lot of investments that has gone on locally in the fields, increasing treatment capacity. As also during this period, as an industry, we were learning what we had. I think with the previous graphs I showed you about Argentine production and the unconventional growth, the quality of the rock is comparable or better than many of the US shale plays. So clearly, I think we're past understanding what we have. We have very good rock. We've developed a local infrastructure to be able to handle production growth. More of it will come as investment continues. And I'm going to show you now also how additional infrastructure within the country has enabled or is enabling us to grow and actually export. So when we look at gas, we see this growth enabling us to be self-sufficient with gas. And being self-sufficient allows us to substitute imports of gas. I think we'll always have to import gas, but as I'll tell you now, we'll be a net exporter of gas. So those imports won't have a deep effect in the country. And it'll have to do with pricing opportunities also. In addition to that, we're going to be able to integrate regionally as a country through exports of gas, and also integrate into the world exporting this gas as LNG, liquefied natural gas. Next one, please. So on a regional basis, I have more pipelines than you have on your graph, but they're not as geopolitically involved as yours. So this is existing gas system distribution, transport system in Argentina, and it has undergone certain debottleneckings. I'm showing 4 instances here, and not all of them are complete. But basically what these 4 projects are allowing us is to take more gas from Vaca Muerta to the consumption markets.
We had the gas, we had the capability, but we did not have the ability to send that gas to the market. Actually, the pipeline between Vaca Muerta and Cerigelo is in production, and it's increasing capacity where they're adding compression. So this is enabling us to substitute imports and supply more gas to the main demand markets. There's an expansion of that. This is point number 2, going into the Santa Fe area. These projects, there's a couple of possible projects, so there's dotted lines there that can happen. This would take a total of additional 44 million cubic meters to this consumption area. For you to have an idea, Argentina consumes in the summertime close to 120 million cubic meters, and in the winter 180 equivalent. So this is a substantial number. And then you have in the lighter blue projects that are called the reversion of the northern gas line. And these have to do with declining imports of gas from Bolivia, which are being replaced by gas from Vaca Muerta. To do this, all that infrastructure needed to be modified to be able to send the gas north instead of bringing it from the north to the south. This is finishing or soon, if it's not finished yet, but this is already sending some gas to the north. Next slide, please. On the top left corner, you have 2 columns, a light blue one and an orange one. The orange one represents the amount of gas that the EIA reported in a publication in 2013, some time ago, that was estimated to be the amount of resources available in Vaca Muerta. That's 308 TCF. TCF, trillion cubic feet.
Okay.
And in light blue, we have what we estimate Argentina will demand within the next 30 years, including exports to Chile. And this is close to 50 TCF, maybe a little bit more. So the ratio is 6-to-1. Clearly, here we need to develop our resources to export. We have much more gas than what we're going to demand as a country. There's opportunities to increase many gas demanding projects like urea plants, fertilizers, more industrialization, but in no way is Argentina's demand going to grow substantially. And the 300 TCF, you may believe them, even if they're half, 3 times the amount of gas we're going to need is a huge amount. So I want you to take the idea here that clearly any additional molecule of gas that Argentina grows on top of its demand it has to be for export, definitely. And the picture I'm going to show you is very similar for oil. And in the graph you're seeing there, it's a forecast for gas production in Argentina. You see conventional in green falling. In blue, you have some other offshore gas. This is the gas in the south. This is fairly constant. And then in red, you see unconventional gas. This is going to be gas that's going to supply Argentine demand. And in orange is LNG, which is unconventional gas also, but that's going to be available for export. So this is what we're seeing as growth. The axis is showing that by the year 2050, we are doubling the amount of production of Argentina, close to 240 cubic meters, million cubic meters per day. In these graphs, I'm showing gas imports also since 2006.
In 2006, 2007, we were importing close to 12 million cubic meters of gas per year. In blue, we see what was imported as LNG, and in gray, we see what was imported as from Bolivia. As you see, this has wedged out and is at its lowest number since, and this is a result of Argentina's conventional gas growing, supplying the local market and replacing imports. The graph below it is the same amount of gas, but with the variations in international prices. And here we see how mainly in 2022, gas prices internationally skyrocketed and had a huge impact on the trade balance of Argentina. We had a minus $7 billion of negative trade balance due to the imports of energy. And now, with all the infrastructure development, we are this year estimating probably a 4 billion surplus in the net energy trade balance. So clearly the picture has changed. This creates a lot of opportunity for Argentina, generating reserves on the export side, but also saving a lot of reserves, not having to import. So that's a huge swing for the Argentine accounts. So following the idea that we need to develop to export, this map is showing different alternatives that Argentina has to export regionally. We have existing gas lines into Chile, 4 of them. There's one in the south in Tierra del Fuego. We have Gas Pacífico, Gas Andes, and in the north, Gas Atacama. All these are online. Most of the volume is going through Gas Pacífico into Chile. So the projects that we have available to export gas regionally to Brazil include using existing infrastructure through the Bolivia pipeline that we used to import. We can revert that and then export it through Bolivia to Brazil. And that's the easiest and fastest opportunity we have. But if we want to take the volumes to 15 million cubic meters a day, then we need to have additional investment either on that system, or we could develop different projects going through either Blue Guayana, which is in the Mesopotamia area of Argentina, or going through Uruguay into Porto Alegre and Sao Paulo, which are the main demand markets. And finally, well, if you go back one, please. If you see in the south, there's a round circle in the province of Rio Negro, and this is where we plan to install a floating LNG vessel. And here's where a first step as an industry to get into the possibility to export gas to the world, basically. So Pan American has entered into a contract and associated with Golar, which is a Norwegian company that supplies floating LNG vessels. These are vessels that have storage capacity on the boat and have liquefaction plants on the boat to be able to convert the gas into LNG. Basically, you compress it and pull it down in such a way that it becomes a liquid in a very cold state. So we've entered into a 20-year contract with Golar to operate their boat and be able to liquefy 2.5 million tons per year of LNG. This is about 11.5 cubic meters a day of gas per day. This is a first project of many that are being proposed by Argentine industry. And here I think Argentine industry has to act together because, you know, LNG projects, if they are plants, require a lot of investment, and usually these, and the sourcing of the gas, this will occur as an industry, in my opinion. And here we need to be competitive as a country to be able to export into the world. And the last one sums up what we've been seeing, but in this case, it's for oil. So we have all the infrastructure for oil, taking oil from Vaca Muerta to Bahía Blanca, and this has also undergone a lot of investment, increasing capacity. There's an additional project announced by YPF, which is called Vaca Muerta Sur, that's also going to go into Rio Negro and be able to export either 500,000 barrels, or take it even to 700,000 barrels per day, according to what the YPF CEO says. This is basically going to allow $1.5 billion barrels of oil per day exports from Vaca Muerta. So clearly, you see the Argentine refinery capacity is practically at full capacity. So any additional oil molecules are going to go for export. And you see in the graph, these are oil exports from Argentina. And in orange, you see the wedge, how in the last 4 years, Vaca Muerta oil has been increasing substantially as part of the Argentine oil exports. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Peron. We have finished our first panel, but we don't want to finish it without asking you if you have any questions or any point of view to discuss on the presentations related to Georgia's point of view, Azerbaijan's point of view, and of course, the insights given by Mr. Peron about Argentina. I open the floor if anyone would like to ask. Great.
El ruido que está dando era
No. Si quisiera, esto lo hubiera hecho solo. No, pero ya se con el pagador.
I would like to ask a question, please. This is to my friends, ambassadors of Azerbaijan and Georgia. Given the geopolitical scenario that you have well described, we all know these last years, how do you see the picture of energy market in Europe and Eurasia, which is our region of interest, in the coming years? Is it going to be still influenced by this competition between Russia and Europe and these sanctions and all that comes from that? Is it going to be a transformation of the market, starting from this competition? Or do you see a progression on your plans as you have already configured the energy market in your region?
Thank you for the question. Very tough question as always. Yeah. Well, as you know, Europe in general, the energy demand of Europe is year by year.
And despite the renewable energy sources of now, still the demand for the traditional energy sources is definitely Russian-Ukraine conflict is changed the map of energy security of Europe in total respect. And definitely Europe is in the search of new energy sources, but they are limited. The issue is that there are sources in Africa, in Middle East, but again, all of these regions have its own ups and downs and controversies. So in general, Eurasian continent, unfortunately, energy security of Eurasian continent has a lot of dependency to the security and stability, political stability of the continent, which is far beyond our expectations, unfortunately, in negative terms. Therefore, when it comes to the role of the Caspian energy sources, also it is limited. Given the fact that Azerbaijan is the only supplier so far with the gas, which is almost 10 to 15% of the energy demand of the total European continent. So this is our maximum capacity. Well, definitely we would like Turkmenistan and Kazakhstan to be part of this network project, but there is again political issues are raising due to the Caspian Sea status issues, and specifically the Russian and the Iranian position is different in our opinions. So therefore, I am not in the capacity of answering whether there will be a solution for European security, energy security. I think in the short term, no. We think that the energy problems and the energy demand of Europe and demand for the other sources will increase in the years to come, which makes again the Southern gas energy corridor and the role of Turkey as a transit country, by the way, as I'm sure our Turkish colleagues will talk about it later, will be more important as for the task for the diverse energy sources.
Thank you, Ramsey. Maybe,
I think Ramsey answered it all. Well, first of all, I think the question is to our European friends and partners. What we have seen so far, and I think 2 years plus, it is not enough time to make a long-term projection. But what we have seen so far is a strong commitment we have of the big economies, for instance, Germany, to accelerate this energy transition to the renewable energy as much as possible, because obviously, well, renewable energy also has its limits. That's why, for instance, we have seen on part of Germany the reactivation of pure power plants to contribute to the energy matrix diversification, and we have seen a wholesome approach from the European Union, just to cut to the extent possible dependence on the Russian energy. Georgia, we have learned the lessons on our own skin. We had to face the tough situation in terms of the cut of the energy supply from Russia to Georgia more than 15 years ago now. So our energy transition started time ago, and we have now achieved a fair level of energy independence, thanks to a very stable supply from our strategic partner, Azerbaijan. And here, of course, we have to once again reiterate that geography and geopolitics matter. It matters. Not all the countries, also in Europe, I guess, are in the same position, in the same starting position, or not all of them are in the same with the same capacity to make this transition, which is, from my point of view, and speaking from Georgia's perspective, necessary. Alternative, but well, all the resources have their limits, as we know. But the political will here, is key. It has been key for the last couple of years, and it will be key for the years to come to really to figure out what is the long-term strategy and to make some tough decisions now to diversify, to cut this dependence, or hopefully not repeat all mistakes.
Thank you.
I see one more person speak.
Thank you. Ambassador Taylor, you show us a very interesting, intriguing pipelines, flex of pipelines actually from the Syrian territory. I'm wondering about a couple of them. Ceyhan, the one that goes to Ceyhan, to the end of Turkey, is fully active because they do have some problems, definitely with the Kurdistan on the one hand. And the other question relates to the one that goes to Novorossiysk. Probably that has some difficulties because of the Russian-Ukrainian war. What is the status, if you can tell us about those two?
Yes. No, Novorossiysk, as I said, it is active, but the capacity of carrying the oil is not enough. Because as I mentioned, Baku-Tbilisi-Ceyhan is designed and projected fully for the purpose of carrying Azeri-Çırak-Güneşli oil field, oil resources to the world market. So this pipeline has a commitment based on the consortium agreement. It is carrying Azeri-Çırak-Güneşli. It is still active, Baku-Tbilisi-Ceyhan is still active, definitely, and is carrying, but the volume of the oil is decreasing because what we see in general in Azerbaijan oil production, there is a decrease, but the gas production is increasing, vice versa the oil production. The highest of the for example, Baku-Tbilisi-Ceyhan, I think it's 2020 when we hit 800,000 barrels per day, but it is now decreased to 600, I think, thousand per day. So, but it is still active. But Baku-Novorossiysk, as I mentioned, it was not initially projected and planned for carrying Azeri-Çırak-Güneşli oil field, which is the largest oil field in the Caspian Sea in Azerbaijan side. It was purely generated to carry other oil resources of Azerbaijan to the Novorossiysk port of Russian Federation, but still valid, but it's not as functional as.
Thank you, Ambassador. No, we have time for one more question. If not,
Is there one?
there's one more. There. One more, and then we'll be finished.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Mr. Ambassadors, everyone in the car as well for inviting us. In this opportunity, I would like to know more about which were the main topics and negotiations for this political creation of new pipelines in terms of security and sovereignty for each state, which are maybe the aspects that we can identify for us as a region as well to implement in Latin America and the Caribbean as well for new corporations in terms of energy, oil, and gas. Thank you.
I'm gonna pass this question. I need another session. Very complicated. Well, in general, the implementation of the pipeline projects, specifically, it mainly depends the location and the geopolitical importance of the location, the players, the actors in the area. When it comes to the Azerbaijan, Georgia, and Turkey pipelines, definitely in the initial period we had a lot of obstacles, a lot of challenges. They were in favor of these projects, they were not in favor of these projects, because at the end of the day, we are talking about diversification of the energy routes. And definitely it makes some people happy, some people not happy. But the key point that both Azerbaijan, Georgia, well, Turkey is a NATO member, so we didn't have that one problem, but for us it was a problematic issue. What we care more is about the national interests of our nations and our countries. So we prioritize it and we put it very forward that, okay, we take all the risks, but this project has to be implemented to be able to make our country's energy sources not dependent on any country or regional power or any regional actor. So that was the key moment, I think, from the strategic point of view. Definitely, there are some other elements, which is mainly related with the ecological negative effects of the pipeline, because, as you know, when the pipelines are passing through the territories, and these territories actually are not mainly state-owned territories. They are basically owned by the private persons. So there is another issues of the privacy rights of the people, the compensation, and again, ecological matters, how you will compensate it. So, and another biggest challenge definitely was the finance. Because, and as I mentioned, the Baku Tbilisi Ceyhan is $3.9 billion project, which is not small amount of project. Considering that the region that time and even now was considered as one of the high-risk potential conflicts in the regions. As you may know, we had a conflict with Armenia at that time, Russia and Georgia conflict, slightly occurred. So this is considered one of the high-risk country, one of the high-risk regions in terms of the investment. However, I think the crucial point on implementation of this huge projects was the leader of the leadership of the governments. At that time in Azerbaijan, in Georgia, and Turkey, our leaders showed strong political will on implementation of this project. And another issue is political and economic stability of the governments. Because when, as my friend can agree with me, that when business people and business companies are investing in one or another country, the first two items that they are considering is the political and economic stability of the country, which is very crucial. And considering that Azerbaijan and Georgia, we were newly independent countries, but despite all of this, there was a political stability in both countries. And there was a small but steady increase in the economic growth of both countries, which made it attractive for foreign investors, specifically for British Petroleum and others, to invest in these projects. I think those are the main points. Thank you.
Thank you to this very first panel that we had today. Hopefully we'll be only the first one who will follow these conversations in new meetings together, particularly thinking on the possibilities for cooperation with Argentina, which is the title of this, health-partner cooperation. Now we will have 5 minutes of a coffee break. I invite you everyone to have a coffee, and we thank you for coming and joining. We'll start the second panel of this agenda that we're talking today about energy resource strategies of the South Caucasus and Turkey, possibilities for cooperation with Argentina. Now we will give the floor to Mr. Onur, the ambassador of Turkey in the Argentine Republic. The ambassador of studied international relations at Galatasaray University and earned a master's in international business administration from Buckinghamshire Children's University. Prior to his appointment in Argentina, he held various positions at Turkish embassies in Baku, Vienna, and the EU, as well as a permanent delegation to the UN. Ambassador, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Distinguished guests, esteemed colleague, Ambassador of Azerbaijan, Ambassador of Georgia, our two brotherly and neighborly countries, ladies and gentlemen.
Close.
So it's a great pleasure to be here one more time in Kari to discuss the energy strategies and the resources of Turkey, the South Caucasus, and the potential for cooperation with our friend Argentina. So let me start by thanking Kari, Ambassador Lily Vasquez, providing us this platform to explore and enhance understanding across continents. So as you know, my country, Turkey, as a bridge between Europe and Asia, has long been a strategic hub in the global energy landscape. Our country serves as a crucial corridor for oil and natural gas flowing from our region to our region and beyond. The South Caucasus, this region, plays an equally vital role in this equation. Our collaborative energy projects that I guess you have heard during the previous panel demonstrate our shared vision. This vast network transporting gas from the Caspian region beyond to Europe underscores the importance of regional partnerships to achieve broader energy security and market stability. Ladies and gentlemen, in the current international environment, energy security and connectivity have become strategic issues. We need to make sure we have access to sufficient and diverse energy sources to sustain our economies, while also at the same time ensuring that we are on track to meet our climate targets and transition to cleaner energy resources. We believe this has to be a joint effort. It can no longer be just governments or only the private sector. Governments and companies will have to respond in a way that will be only economically, socially, and environmentally responsible and sustainable. So for this, we have invested heavily, but I mean significantly, into our energy infrastructure on multiple fronts, and we have reaped the benefits of these investments. Now we have been able to weather the energy crisis after the Ukraine war, thanks to forward-looking and sound policies in this field. I believe Turkey has one of the most, maybe the most sophisticated and developed energy infrastructure in the region, and sophisticated gas network pipeline at least 20,000 kilometers long, along with 5 LNG import terminals. In addition to import facilities, Turkey has also invested heavily in acquiring our own drilling ships. Turkey now owns 4 drilling ships, which give the ability to explore for our own oil and gas resources. Thanks to these efforts, we discovered an offshore gas field in the Turkish section of the Black Sea 4 years ago, and we named it Sakarya, and have since begun production. First time in the 110-year history of our republic that we celebrated 2 days ago. Yes. Thank you. And we are now building also our first nuclear power plant, which we plan to commission next year. In the long term, we plan to build a total of 3 conventional nuclear power plants and also utilize small modular reactors, ACERA, like CAREM in Argentina, in our energy mix. We would like to build on our dialogue with Argentina in this field, energy, nuclear energy. At the same time, over 59% of our installed capacity come from renewable energy resources. I would like to give you some figures in this respect, if I can find, yeah. So in the early 2000s, our installed electric capacity was around 28 gigawatt. But as of September, so last month, 2024, it has reached 114 GW. Of this installed capacity, more than 40% consists of thermal power plants, and 59 is based on renewable resources. With approximately 67 GW of renewed installed capacity, we now rank as the 5th country in Europe after Germany, Spain, France, and Italy, and globally rank 11th. By 2035, it's planned to invest more than $100 billion in renewable energy projects and quadruple the installed solar and wind capacity from 4 times quadruple. So we see the important role that clean energies will play not only in meeting climate goals, but also maintaining our energy security. We believe there is a potential for cooperation between 2 countries in this field, renewable energy. I have just landed about half an hour ago from Cordoba, and to my surprise.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I should say, to my surprise, one of the topics that we discussed was renewable energy, cooperation in renewable energy in Cordoba. To be frank with our friends, I was not expecting that. And so Turkey and Argentina, we are talking about a potential collaboration in Argentina. Turkey and Argentina can find ways of collaborating in the field of renewables. So we can share our knowledge and experience in this to promote further adoption of renewable energies in our respective countries. Furthermore, it is also important to note the critical role of critical raw materials and rare earth elements that will play in the adoption of clean energy technologies. We believe international cooperation in this field is necessary if we want to secure sufficient supply of these materials that will be required by future clean energy projects. Turkey has recently joined the Mineral Security Partnership Forum. Argentina is also part of this forum, MSPF. This is also an area of potential cooperation between our countries. And the MSP Forum can provide a great platform to discuss these issues on a bilateral, multilateral level. I would add, and finally, 2 more things. First, we are neighboring geographies, regions, with 60% of proven oil and natural gas reserves. Not only conflicts, crisis, but also proven oil and natural gas resources. Turkey is now one of the largest natural gas and electricity market in the region. A large portion of our country's current account deficit stems from energy because of lack of energy resources. Therefore, my country, Turkey, has been one of the fastest growing energy demand country within the OECD, that we are one of the founding members. We have a high dependency on energy imports. Therefore, the primary goal of strategic goal of our country is in the field of energy is to strengthen energy supply security. How do we do that? It's a threefold strategy. One, maximizing the utilization of domestic and renewable resources. That's why we focus heavily on renewables. Second, increasing energy efficiency. That is very important, and sometimes we omit how important it is to use energy efficiently. And third, enhancing route and source diversity in imported energy resources. Now, a small pause. 2 weeks ago, the president of YPF was in Ankara. First time. He had some discussions, and he explained Argentina energy project, which is critically and strategically important for Argentina. As I said, Turkey is heavily dependent on energy imports. And on the one hand side, Argentina LNG project can be a potential supplier. So the two sides come together and they start a discussion in order to diversify sources. Well, therefore, Turkey and Argentina can find common ground in enhancing energy efficiency and innovation. We are both committed to exploring new technologies and energy and ensuring energy accessibility for future generations. Parejo Vanes is there here. So in combination with Argentina's expertise, we believe new pathways for cooperation in research, policy, development, and technology transfer can be opened. Looking ahead, I am optimistic about creating stronger links with Argentina across the entire energy spectrum. We believe that by working together with Azerbaijan and Georgia, as well as our Argentine counterparts, we can develop innovative strategies and projects that will benefit all our countries. And with that, let me thank you again, Kari, Ambassador Vasquez, and I look forward to meaningful exchange and easy questions and collaborations as we advance our shared energy ambitions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ambassador, for your presentation. I will now introduce to Mr. Andrés Bellino from the General Mosconi Institute. Mr. Bellino holds a degree in economics from the University of Buenos Aires. Is a public accountant from the University of Business Science. Has a master in energy from Cuba, and is currently a doctoral candidate in economics at the Catholic University of Argentina. He teaches at Cuba and the National Technological University, UTM, in subjects related to economics and energy. He's a member of the executive committee of the Argentine Institute of Energy, General Mosconi, and the board of the Center for Energy Regulatory Studies, where I studied as well. He has served as a director of at Nuclear Fuels of Argentina, CONUAR, and at the Special Alloys Factory 5 on behalf of the national state, and has advised various high-level organizations, the National Atomic Energy Commission and the National Gas Regulatory Entity. That is the first.
Muchas gracias. Quiero especialmente agradecerle a Cari, a la embajadora Vázquez, por buenísima presentación, a Herrera Vegas, gran amigo del instituto, y a todos los presentes por esta oportunidad. Yo hice una presentación que va a ser tal vez más focalizada en este caso en las oportunidades que entendemos desde la Argentina se pueden ofrecer. Y me voy a focalizar en una medida en el régimen de incentivos para las grandes inversiones RIGI. Vamos a comenzar por ello. Esto es reciente, está dentro del capítulo de la ley bases que la administración sancionó en el curso del año. Una ley, ustedes saben, grandes capítulos y demás. Y uno de ellos ha sido precisamente que mencionamos, que tiene luego un decreto reglamentario y que después se van a ir seguramente desprendiendo un conjunto de normas que las aguardamos con mucha ansiedad para ver qué es lo que finalmente nos dice. Allí, en definitiva, se trata de un régimen de incentivos, un régimen fiscal. Hay que tener en consideración, yo no puedo no hacer una mención a los aspectos económicos. Hay un costo fiscal, es decir, el Estado renuncia o cede recaudación. De manera que cuando uno lleva adelante este tipo de políticas públicas, tiene que ser muy cauteloso en que el propósito se cumpla. Ustedes van a ver ahora que la reglamentación es muy específica en ciertos aspectos. Simplemente se buscan incentivos, se busca dar seguridad, se busca que los proyectos que puedan venir queden blindados de alguna manera, ¿no es cierto?, en términos de seguridad jurídica. No ven las administraciones e incluso, la que ya saben, es país federal, por lo tanto, son las provincias, estados provinciales, y esto les da competencia hacia cuestiones, por eso que la ley apunta a que las provincias adhieran, ¿no? Cuando lo han hecho, afortunadamente lo han hecho muchas, en las cuales estarían ciertos proyectos que vamos a mencionar. Ahí, esto yo se lo dejo en la presentación, en compartir, se tiene un listado de todos los aspectos que la ley se propone. Es decir, en definitiva, se propone generar inversiones, generar que vengan acompañadas de empleo de calidad, que se produzca un efecto derrame, como decimos los economistas, que los proyectos se realicen, se puedan alocar esas comunidades, a su vez también obtengan beneficios, que se beneficien, por supuesto, el Estado nacional y a la vez que los estados provinciales. La ley también hace mención a cuestiones ambientales, que habrá que atender, llegado el momento. Es decir, no se desentiende de ese aspecto, y también incluso incorpora algunas cuestiones que fueron tenidas en consideración en la reforma de la Constitución del año 94. Desarrollo económico. El plazo de adhesión van a ser 2 años, el Poder Ejecutivo lo va a poder extender 1 año más. Los proyectos arrancan en los $200 millones. Es el piso dólares estadounidenses para que se hagan las presentaciones. En algunos casos, en energía se puede extender hasta 600, podría extenderse incluso hasta los 900 millones. Y después deja reservado una capital para las, pasar una lámina más, queda prevista también una capital para proyectos que estén focalizados exclusivamente en exportaciones en el orden de los $2.000 millones de dólares. Las cuestiones que ahí se van a dividir van a abarcar varios ítems. El primero de ellos es el capítulo impositivo. Va a haber una reducción de la alícuota del impuesto a las ganancias. Va a haber beneficios en términos del agregado, el IVA, en los débitos y los créditos bancarios. Se van a poder computar algunos elementos en las declaraciones, las determinaciones de los impuestos por parte de las compañías. Vamos una más. Vamos ahora a ver que hay beneficios también aduaneros, porque todos estos proyectos, especialmente los referidos a petróleo, gas, y también, como mencionaba el embajador, las cuestiones de las energías renovables, también, quiero hacer mención, no puede escapar, el tema de la minería. La minería silenciosamente avanza, a veces en algunos casos incluso más rápido que en el sector energético. Tiene, por supuesto, otra dinámica, tiene otro horizonte, pero ellos lo hacen muy bien. Va a haber beneficios cambiarios para que las inversiones puedan tener disponibilidad de las divisas, que siempre esto ha sido un conflicto en nuestro país, porque nuestro país, como todos sabemos, necesita dólares. La economía no puede funcionar sin flujo anual de dólares. Se espera entonces que estos proyectos alienten las exportaciones y con ello se junten y se fortalezcan las reservas del Banco Central que tanto falta nos hace. Tenemos también cuestiones, como mencionábamos, una horizonte a 30 años, que nos parece razonable. Los proyectos de energía se piensan a largo plazo, nadie piensa en un proyecto que pueda madurar en breve, sino que por el contrario, son a largo plazo, no solo en energía, es decir, para dirigirse al RIGI, y ahora viene, digamos, toda una cuestión particular que yo dejo la presentación para que ustedes lo puedan revisar y si hay alguna duda a disposición. Tiene que constituirse lo que se denomina una BPU, es un vehículo que titulariza el proyecto. Es decir, ahí, sea una sociedad anónima, sean sociedades extranjeras, UTES, etcétera, se van a confluir para, con ese vehículo que tendrá su propio quiz, tendrá su inscripción, los registros y demás, avance el proyecto. Y esto se va a presentar de tal forma ante las autoridades. Y ya quedó definido que esto va a ser en la órbita del Ministerio de Economía. Aquí ustedes saben que hay las históricas Secretarías de Energía y Secretaría de Minería, a la que se suma una Secretaría de Coordinación de Minería y Energía, porque es algo novedoso en esta administración, yo no recuerdo otras, que no está mal que se coordine de alguna manera toda la cuestión de estos grandes sectores. ¿Qué entendemos que van a ser dentro de los sectores que ustedes ven allí mencionados? Agroindustria, infraestructura, forestal, bueno, ya dijimos la minería, petróleo, energía y tecnología. Entendemos, yo por lo menos me animo a pronosticar que estos dos sectores, energético y minero, van a ser los que van a traccionar en principio los proyectos en el marco del RIGI. Ahí habrá que hacer un detalle de las inversiones, se está por constituir la unidad de control, la unidad del ministerio, ya está previsto que esa unidad sea integrada por profesionales de ciencias económicas, ingenieros, y deberá haber al menos un abogado, con lo cual le da, digamos, una mirada interdisciplinaria que me parece pertinente. Deberá detallarse no solo el histórico cash flow o el fondo como lo conocemos en la literatura, sino que va a haber que incorporar datos referidos al empleo directo y puestos de trabajo indirectos. Y por supuesto, la proyección, lo que llamamos estados contables proyectados. Ahora simplemente paso rápidamente y con ello concluyo a algunos de los proyectos que están o que han tomado estado público, vamos a decirlo así. Ustedes saben que Vaca Muerta, que incluye 4 provincias argentinas, es en este momento el foco de todo esto. No es lo único, pero es tal vez primordial. El sector energético se está moviendo a 2 velocidades. Se está moviendo muy bien, el petróleo, gas, se está moviendo muy bien, y no se está moviendo tan bien la electricidad, donde tenemos problemas, donde ya nos han anunciado cortes, restricciones para el verano, donde cuesta mucho expandir la infraestructura, financiarlo, en definitiva todos los proyectos, el secreto es conseguir el financiamiento, y por eso es tan importante las alianzas que se llevan adelante con otros países. Me parece muy alentador el tipo de encuentros que se acercaron. Vamos una más. Tenemos el famoso proyecto que tal vez el que más Estado público ha tomado en los últimos tiempos, que es el que se dirimía si se radicaba en provincia de Buenos Aires o en Río Negro. Bueno, finalmente ganó la localización en Punta Colorada en Río Negro, que ya estaba, digamos, infraestructura entendido de un muelle de más de 1000 metros, porque esto ya se había usado en el pasado para hacer minería en la provincia. Yo no conozco los detalles de esa evaluación, pero nos han comentado lo de llevarlo a Río Negro era de alguna manera para desacoplarlo de Bahía Blanca y eventualmente desacoplarlo de la tentación de algún funcionario que pudiera eventualmente esos flujos después quererlos volcar al mercado interno y que no terminan siendo exportados, que es definitivamente el concepto del proyecto. Es un ambicioso plan. En un principio va a estar allí, o se prevé que esté allí atracado un buque de licuefactor, que luego derivará en la construcción de una planta licuefactora que no se construye, ustedes se imaginarán, un día para el otro. Es, como decíamos, un proyecto muy importante. YPF ahí se había en un principio asociado con una empresa de Malasia. Esto aparentemente está, digamos, en un stand-by, pero el proyecto podría, y lo digo así incluso no solo las autoridades de YPF, sino el propio gobernador de la provincia, que podría continuar con nuevos socios. También tenemos otros proyectos para traer algún buque operando actualizado en este momento en el África, eso es más de envergadura. Tenemos el tercer caso de petróleo, también para en este caso, bueno, avanzar en zonas de la provincia de Buenos Aires, Blanca y Ingenio White. Nada más, tenemos un cuarto que tiene que ver con una alianza que estaría siendo DGS. DGS es Puerto Gas del Sur, es una de las dos licenciatarias que opera el sistema de transporte de gas natural en la Argentina. Que por supuesto lo opera con precios regulados, tarifas, ¿no es cierto? Y ahí siempre está la cuestión, cuando los mercados en energía son regulados, se comportan de una manera diametralmente opuesta a lo que ocurriría en mercados no regulados. A mí no me gusta usar la palabra desregulados, porque en realidad serían no regulados, si queremos ser más precisos en la determinación. Tenemos otros casos también con, bueno, esto es un resumen, esto lo pasamos. Quisiera moverme ya a una más, digamos. Podemos, bueno, acá tenemos ahí por un instante, si uno suma o hace, digamos, una agregación de todos los proyectos que podrían llegar a estar involucrados en el marco de un RIGI para los próximos años. Se está hablando del orden de los 180.000 millones de dólares, lo cual es una suma muy significativa, como ustedes imaginarán. Si esto lograse su propósito, creo que la Argentina podría vivir un boom en el término de 1 o 2 administraciones presidenciales. Vamos, nada más. Acá hago simplemente un breve raconto de lo que hasta ahora, desde el año 2013, se invirtió, del orden de los 40.000 millones de dólares, a valores constantes. Pasamos nada más. Ahí hay un ranking que se los dejo, desde ese año 2013 a la fecha, YPF a la cabeza, con más de 26.000 millones, y después en un lote sin grandes diferencias entre sí, PAE, Total Energy, Plus Petrol, Shell Petrol, son esta Pampa Energía que termina en el orden de los 1.020 millones. Seguimos. Para que nos demos una dimensión de lo que estamos hablando. En el año, por lo que transcurre el año 2024, el petróleo crudo fue el tercer producto exportado de Argentina. O sea, estamos acostumbrados, estuvimos siempre acostumbrados a hablar de un país agroexportador, pero atención, llevamos en este caso ya estamos en los 3.500 millones de dólares exportados, con un incremento respecto de 2023 de más del 50% de aumento. Estamos superavitarios en balanza energética comercial. Llevamos un superávit de arriba de los 3.700 millones, que nos viene por cierto muy bien. Es decir, esto pone a la cuestión energética y en particular al petróleo y el gas al tope de las prioridades del comercio exterior. El campo se dinamiza sin mayores necesidades, lo hizo siempre, lo hizo desde más de un siglo atrás, ¿no es cierto? Es decir, no necesita, deben reglas de juego, la Argentina cuenta con estas competitivas y comparativas en materia agropecuaria, con lo cual no necesita de grandes estímulos, pero históricamente el sector energético no se comportó de igual forma. Vamos, una más. Hay, para no quedarme solo en el petróleo, traje el ejemplo de Mendoza, para que se lo tengamos, 230 millones, esto ya lo anunció el gobernador Cornejo, para que PFLUS, digamos, la rama del YPF, invierta en una primera etapa 230 millones para el. Seguimos. Me muevo a la minería, muy rápido, y con esto ya concluimos. Acá hay muchos proyectos muy importantes, se mencionó el caso del litio, y no debemos perder de vista que, bueno, el litio en el momento es hoy, la oportunidad es hoy, hay que aprovecharla, se está haciendo, hay provincias como Catamarca, recientemente, que tiene un dinamismo extraordinario, Salta, La Rioja no es el caso, no es el caso porque por ley provincial muchos han sido muy restrictivos con los proyectos mineros, que son en definitiva dos provincias muy parecidas, cuando se compara entre sí en términos de potencial minero. Salta, por caso muy importante, y Mendoza, San Juan, que por supuesto la minería tradicional ha sido muy significativa. Yo decía, no quedarse solo mirando el litio, hay que mirar el cobre, y hay que volver a mirar el oro y la plata. Y hay que volver a mirar el oro y la plata como potencial. Un caso para que ustedes se den una magnitud. Río Negro, que particularmente porque estaba aquí en una oportunidad, Río Negro se quiere transformar de una provincia con minería en una provincia minera. Y esto creo que es relevante, ¿no es cierto? Que los gobernadores, que las máximas autoridades de la provincia apuesten en ese sentido. Por supuesto, con todas las necesidades y regulaciones medioambientales que correspondan, porque sabemos que la minería tiene, digamos, consecuencias, pero me parece que esto es significativo mencionarlo. Un ejemplo, en el caso de Río Negro, la minería está muy fuerte. Seguimos. Traje el proyecto Mara en Catamarca, cobre y oro. Esto es un proyecto que está en este momento con un empuje bárbaro. Ahí se están ubicando recursos de factores que estaban afectados abajo de la moneda, que son minas que están ya, digamos, en fase de terminación. Y entonces, dentro de la provincia se están dirigiendo hacia estos otros proyectos. Y voy a la última, para que no nos quedemos solo con energía y minería. Los fertilizantes en un país como el nuestro, agropecuario, no son un caso menor. Y ahí tenemos a Profertil apostando a la construcción de nuevas plantas por el orden de $1.500 millones en el marco también RIGI, sumándose las que ellos ya tenían produciendo en el sector petroquímico. Creo que por último. Ahí está. Bueno, muchas gracias.
Thank you. We have finished the second part, and I think the last 2 points you highlighted shows how the energy sector is crucial, based on the base of all our development, thinking of innovation, technologies, and everything that we have in our economies, and that's the idea to bring up those issues that are so important for our development in our region and the whole international system. I would like to open the floor if any of you would like to ask anything. Now we will go to the conclusions. Okay, I'll go to the conclusions. I'll give the floor to Engineer Raúl Parisi. Raúl Parisi is the director of the Energy Affairs Code.
Okay, thank you. We are at the end of the seminar and it is time for conclusion. So I will try, after listening 4 very good presentations, I will try to make a brief summary. We have listened 4 countries, a summary of 4 countries in terms of resources and energy strategies. So we recognize there are 2 countries, 2 exporting countries, Argentina and Azerbaijan, and 2 importing countries, as Turkey and Georgia. We know in terms of the energy transition, owing to the climate change, that the gas is the most important in terms of the energy transition. So gas is also involved in the strategies of Turkey when they have in mind to increase their energy efficiency, which means to decrease the energy intensity, which means to produce the same with less energy consumption. So in terms of the flows of energy between these four countries, we know that if we accept coke, which is out of the picture because of the climate change, we know and we see that the crude oil, petroleum, and gas can be transported and sailed through pipelines as the ones that exist between Azerbaijan and Turkey, not only for crude oil, but also for gas. But if it is not the case, maybe the gas from Vaca Muerta, the oil from Vaca Muerta, to some of any of these countries, or Georgia, or Turkey, which are far away, ships are the way to do it. And to do it with the crude oil, it is not difficult because it is a commodity, so we put it on a ship and that's it. But to do it with the gas, you need to make, as we are doing in the south that we see in the last presentation, a new gas pipeline, new port, and an energy plant in Rio Negro, south of Buenos Aires. So what I see as opportunities to cooperate between countries, Azerbaijan, the only way that I see we may cooperate is if you discover unconventional oil and gas, because we are one of the three only countries in the world, with the States and with Canada, which have expertise and which commercialize this technology from the commercial standpoint. So Vaca Muerta, we produce both with the fracking and this combined technology. So in the other cases, it is, I think it is more reasonable, a regional integration as we have with Azerbaijan, than an extra region. Argentina belongs to the Atlantic region or forum. So our interconnections are in gas with Chile, with Uruguay, with Brazil, through pipelines. Same with Chile, with crude oil. We have an oil pipeline. So the only way to cooperate with Turkey or Georgia is through ships or through the LNG with gas, and it is more reasonable from Azerbaijan to supply and complement those countries regionally than from the Atlantic. So in brief summary, that's what I can tell, and remark the found of the Turkey ambassador that he saw a cooperation field in the technological side or provision of equipment in his travels through the country, Cordoba, I guess. So this is probably another area of cooperation, but not in big, because we are not technology producers as the United States. Probably in specific fields to cooperate and to integrate in a better way our countries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Engineer País. If anybody has a question for this second panel, we will happily give you the
No questions, don't worry. I have a comment. I think I would like to, I think Raul's summary was very complete. But I would like to add something where I think, at least with Azerbaijan, we can have a good conversation and technology exchange regarding mature fields. Azerbaijan has a long oil and gas history in production, so a lot of experience and technology is developed. So that's another place where we can exchange. We have many conventional fields in Argentina that are reaching a mature state, and this is where the technology and looking for new ways of operating can make fields remain competitive. So I think that's one point of collaboration we can work on. And as was mentioned just now, the electricity infrastructure in Argentina needs more investment. There are not more renewable projects coming online because of transport capacity issues for electricity. So that's where we can probably cooperate also with your experiences integrating electricity in the region for Argentina also, as far as technology exchange.
Anybody else want to be about their comments or
Yes, thank you. Just I want to briefly give some facts as far as gas is concerned. Turkey is now the fourth largest gas market in Europe, and second largest regasification capacity in Europe, which means, and with 5 LNG terminals, it has a lot of re-export capacity. So the idea is, let me put it bluntly, Vaca Muerta gas comes Turkey with ships, goes into terminals, and re-export world markets. That's the vision. And it's feasible because the largest LNG supplier of Turkey is United States. Right. This Western Hemisphere. So if we have the will, there is always a way. Let me finish with this anecdotal discovery that I personally saw, and it was my first visit to Patagonia, La Pampa, La Reforma. The reason was Ceremonia de la Última Soldadura, the gasoducto Nestor Kirchner. You know why I was there in the middle of? Because the workers, welding workers, were from Turkey. 45 of them. And now they are working in the next phase in the north, in Cordova section phase, and probably they will be working in the third sections. So there are many ways of cooperation, many ways. The only thing is just to think a little bit out of the box and to help each other to enhance each other energy security. Argentina can help Turkey's supply security, and Turkey can enhance Argentina's demand security.
That's great.
Thank you.
Great. You.
Thank you, everyone. Now we will give the final floor to the person that organized very well all this, and we thank you for this program. The Ambassador Lila Roland Mas is the director of the Committee of Evaluation Study and also the General Secretary of this study.
Muchas gracias, Daniela. Bueno, gracias a todos. Thank you especially to our panelists, brilliant panelists, all of them. Thank you very much, ambassadors.
Thank you.
And Andrés, Martín, los comentarios de... I'll go on in English, so my friends are, it will be easier for everybody. So I was, since you told an I'll begin with Andres.
Okay.
Because Andres was telling us that we have problems in electricity. In the field of energy, we are okay with gas and oil, but we are not so okay with electricity. And when I visited Baku a few years ago, I was surprised in the evening and night of the amount of electricity that I thought they are wasting money here. They are wasting lots of money because it's like you go through a street, a road, and there are, it's like there's lights everywhere. And that means they have so much energy to spend. And the trouble is that we are so far away and so there's such need of communication between our regions and our countries to know exactly what are the resources that we can share and we can cooperate among us. And from the expositions that we hear today, there's an impact of geography and geopolitics, and on any country, opportunities for development. And you, Baram, specifically spoke about geopolitics affecting your country's resources and possibilities of development. And the Caucasus region is an excellent example of this. Because they have this strategic region in terms of resources and location between Asia and Europe, and with so many resources through the sea and in land. But they are also, these countries are also affected by geopolitics. And the impact of all this turbulent region, as Ramsey said, this is a region with caveats. Investors are maybe afraid of investing in a region that has so many risks inherent for this position. And that's why I'm a firm believer in regionalism. I think that in this world of today, the best way to go ahead for countries, especially middle-sized countries, not big powers, is to try and work together with common interests in one region, and then we'll be stronger to deal with other regions and other big powers. And Turkey, Georgia, and Azerbaijan, they are a good example of how countries that have common interests and a good strategy can find a way to have successful results through this cooperation. On the other side, international cooperation, interregional cooperation is also needed in this world of today, so complicated. And the remarks of both the ambassador of Turkey, speaking about the possibilities of cooperation with Argentina, and of Andres showing us all the possibilities that we have to explore, have shown these opportunities to us. And I hope that this meeting will help to open our eyes to possibilities of cooperation between our countries. I'm sure going to try and do more of these meetings, not only with this region, but with every region. And I hope that you enjoyed as much as I did presentations and the good willing and smiles of our guests today. So thank you, everybody, for being here today.
Okay.